Hello, Team Gerwell. You are flipping in fifth with me, Mrs. G. Today we're going to be talking about Topic 9, Lesson 10, our very last lesson in this very, very long unit of adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. And today's learning target is I will be able to draw a picture and write an equation to solve a problem. So here's your vocabulary word for the night, bar diagram. It's simply a picture we can draw to help us solve problems. And here's an example of a bar diagram that I would also like you to write down in your notes so you can refer back to it later in the lesson. Here's our problem of the day. Olivia and Valeria were training for the CrossFit Championship. They ran 9/10 of a mile on Monday, 1/2 of a mile on Tuesday, and 3/5 of a mile on Wednesday. How far did they run in all? Well, the first thing we're going to do, as we always do when we have story problems, is underline the question so we know what it's asking us. So we will underline how far did they run in all. Now we need to look for the important information, and we have a lot of it. We have 9/10 of a mile on Monday, 1/2 of a mile on Tuesday, and 3/5 of a mile on Wednesday. So now we need to draw a picture and write an equation to help us solve this problem. So we're going to go ahead and write a bar diagram, just like you wrote down in your vocabulary portion of your notebook. And we're going to put 9/10 in one square, we're going to put 1/2 in another, and we're going to put 3/5 in another, because they ran 9/10 on Monday, 1/2 on Tuesday, and 3/5 on Wednesday. So our x, or our unknown, is going to be how many miles did they run in all. So our equation is going to look something like this. X equals 9/10 plus 1/2 plus 3/5. Now, of course, before we can solve this, we need to find a like or a common denominator between 10, 2, and 5. You might already see one, but if you don't, then you can go ahead and do a table. So here I've listed my denominators and I've multiplied them by 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're looking for the least common denominator. In this case, I found them, 10. They all have 10 in common, and it's the smallest number that they have in common. So we're going to keep 9/10 because that already has a 10. And then we're going to have to change the 2 and the 5 to 10 and also rename the numerators while we're at it. So here, this would be 5/10, and here, this would be 6/10. So our new equation is x equals 9/10 plus 5/10 plus 6/10. And in order to solve that, we would add it all together, and x would equal 20/10. But we need to simplify. Remember, this is an improper fraction, and we know 10 goes into 20 how many times? 2. So x equals 2 miles. That's how many miles they ran in all. Okay, now you try one. Hannah hiked 1/3 of a mile and Daniel hiked 1/6 of a mile. So how much further did Hannah hike than Daniel? I want you to go ahead and draw a picture, like a bar diagram, write an equation, and then solve it. Come back when you are ready. All right, coming back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Was your answer 1/6 of a mile further? Well, let me show you how I got it. First of all, the bar diagram I would draw would look similar to this. The reason that we have 1/6 here and x here is because x is our unknown. We know that Hannah hiked 1/3 of a mile, but Daniel only hiked 1/6. So we know this is going to be a subtraction problem, so that's why it's drawn this way. We have our total amount here minus 1/6 equals x. So that's going to be our equation. 1/3 minus 1/6 equals what? Well, we have to find a common denominator, and we know 3 will go into 6. So here we're going to double or times 2 on the denominator to get 6 and do the same thing to the numerator. So our new problem is 2/6 minus 1/6, which equals 1/6. Chloe agrees. Okay, here's tonight's practice problems number 1. This is number 1. We have 3, and because they're story problems, I want you to go through and solve them one at a time and then come back for the answer in between. So our first practice problem says, Garrett connected a wire extension that is 3/8 of a foot long to another wire that is 1/2 of a foot long. How long is the wire with the extension on it? Go ahead and stop the video, write a picture, draw a picture, write an equation, and solve it for me. All right, coming back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is what your bar diagram looks like. This is what your equation is, and your answer is 7/8. Our next practice problem number 2 is the smallest female spider measures 1/2 millimeter in length. The smallest male spider measures 2/5 of a millimeter in length. How much longer is the female spider than the male? Go ahead and stop the video and come back when you're ready. Coming back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is what your bar diagram would look like. This would be your equation, and 1/10 is your answer. And tonight's practice problem number 3, the last one we have. A recipe calls for 3 times as many carrots as peas. If Bethany used 2 cups of peas, how many cups of carrots would she use? Go ahead and pause the video and come back when you have your answer. Coming back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is what your bar diagram would look like. And the reason it would look like this is because you have 3 times as many carrots as peas. So this is the total number of carrots, and X would equal 6 cups. So make sure you checked your work and you wrote how many you got correct out of 3. We only had 3 practice problems tonight. Honestly, fill out the self-reflection. Could you teach a friend, or are you still confused? And fill in the space for any questions you still have. I hope you have a great night, and I look forward to working more practice problems with you in class. Bye-bye.